unemployment. Now what is unemployment? People, if the people are willing to work at the current wages, but they are not able to find the jobs according to their own, as per their own capabilities, then we call them unemployed. Alright, so it is valid for the people of 15 to 59 years. We call it a workforce population. So if there is a child who is, let's say, 10, 12 years old and he is not able to find a job, we will not call him unemployed, because legally it is not allowed for a child of less than 14 years age to work. Then on the other hand, if there is a housewife who does not want to go out to work, she wants to look after her children, then we will not call her unemployed because she is not willing to work. Similarly, people of old age, let's say your grandparents, if they are more than 60 years of age, they have retired, so we will not call them unemployed. Unemployment refers to people who are willing to work and they lie between this age of 15 to 59 years age, but they are not able to find job as per their own capabilities. Only those people are called unemployed. So unemployment, let us look at it in detail. Unemployment in rural areas. There are two main types of unemployment which we see in rural areas. One is the seasonal unemployment. This is seen especially in agricultural people involved in agriculture, because in agriculture there are certain seasons in which the job opportunities are there, like in harvesting season, during sowing, or to remove the weeds, people need labor. So there are certain months in which people are not able to find the jobs. This is especially true for landless laborers or the small laborers who look for job into the land of other people. So for certain season they have job, but during certain months of the year they do not have job, because there is no requirement, there is no demand for such, for any labor. So such people they have to deal with seasonal unemployment. For some months they do not have any job at all. Another kind of unemployment seen in rural areas is disguised unemployment. This is a hidden kind of unemployment, because people will appear to be working, but actually they are not working to their full potential. For this, let me give you an example. Suppose there is a land, this land requires 5 people to work on it to produce a certain yield. But there is a family of 8 who owns this land. So 8 people are working on this land. So these 8 people will appear to be employed. They are not unemployed, because they have their land, they are working on this land. If you remove 3 people from it, the productivity will not change. The yield from this land will remain the same, because this much piece of land requires only 5 people to work to produce certain crops. So these 3 people, actually we say they are disguised unemployed, because they appear to be employed, but they are not utilizing their full potential. They are not helping in improving the productivity. They are not helping in adding the GDP of the country. So such type of unemployment is called disguised unemployment. It is also very common in agriculture sector, in which all the family members work in a given piece of land, and even in small scale industries, when all the family members are involved in some small scale business. All right, so this type of unemployment is called disguised unemployment. Now let us move on to unemployment in urban areas. The most common unemployment in urban areas is educated unemployment. There are people who are matriculate or who are graduate and even postgraduate, and they are not able to find the jobs because the employment opportunities are less. Such people are called educated unemployed. It is also common in urban areas. Among the graduates and postgraduates, it is becoming very common. The percentage of such unemployed people is increasing. So this leads to a paradoxical manpower situation. What happens? There is a high supply of educated people who have education in one of the sectors, but then there is a dearth of supply of people who have actual skills. Let's say in IT, there are many engineers who are unemployed, but those with actual skills to develop new technologies, there is a dearth of this. We do not have many people with such special skills. Such a situation is called paradoxical manpower situation. Now, this unemployment is highly undesirable for the people and for the country as a whole. Let's understand why. Firstly, it leads to the wastage of manpower resource. People who have skills, who have education, who have capability to work and increase the productivity, but they are not able to do so. So it leads to the wastage of manpower. Such a resource is being wasted. If they are put into use, they can actually help in improving the economy of the country. So that is why unemployment leads to wastage of manpower resource. Another drawback is it leads to despair and helplessness, feeling of helplessness among youth, which is not a good situation. Then third, it leads to poverty, because such people, if they are not able to find job, then they are not able to earn enough money, and it leads to poverty. It also leads to increased economic overload on the government, because government has to provide them, government has invested on them, on their education, on their health care, and they are not able to return that investment. So they become economic overload for the government or for the country, because government has to provide them food, shelter, they have to provide them certain facilities, but they are not earning, they are not adding up to the national income. The quality of life is adversely affected, not only for the people but for the society as a whole. If there are people who are unemployed, it leads to adverse quality of life of the society. Then it leads to decline in health status, because people cannot afford to have a healthy, nutritious food, as well as they cannot afford to go to the doctors frequently. Then this also leads to decline in literacy rate, because if such people cannot afford to send their children to school, so there is a dropout rate from the schools which increases. So that is why we say unemployment is highly undesirable for a country, and it is the duty of the government to create more employment opportunities for the youth of the country. So overall, unemployment has detrimental impact on the economy, and it indicates a depressed economy. If a country has high unemployment rate, it indicates a depressed economy. So in India, the unemployment rate is low. You'll be surprised to know that unemployment rate in India is low. This is so because people with low incomes, they are considered employed. They are not counted as unemployed. So if there is a postgraduate student who is doing some menial job, a clerical job, he'll be considered as employed, although he is not fully utilizing his potential. On the other hand, poor people, they cannot afford to sit idle. They have to find some job or the other for subsistence of their life, all right, to make their living. So they are ready to do any kind of job. They are forced to do any kind of job. They have low earnings, but they are considered as employed. That is why, although unemployment rate is low, but the situation is not very good in India. Let us now look at the unemployment in three sectors of economy. In the primary sector, the agriculture is the most labor absorbing. It involves a lot many people, but now the scenario is changing because of increase in population. I just told you about disguised unemployment in agricultural sector as well as seasonal unemployment. So although agriculture is labor absorbing, but there is disguised and seasonal unemployment in agriculture sector. So more and more people are shifting to the cities to find jobs in secondary as well as tertiary sectors. There are many people from the rural areas who migrate to cities in search of jobs because the land is fixed, the yield is fixed. So if I just told you about disguised unemployment, if a field requires 5 people to work on it and there are 8 people in the family, then those 3 people are unemployed in a way. They are not adding to the productivity. So it leads to poverty. But what happens in agriculture, whatever is produced from the small pieces of land, it is shared among all the members. So the hardship is less. It is not, life is not very hard for such people, disguised unemployment, because this hardships are shared among all the family members. But recently we have seen many people from the rural areas, they migrate to the cities to find job in small scale industries or in the tertiary sectors. Then comes the secondary sector, which includes all the small scale industries and even the big industries. Even the small scale industries are quite labor absorbing. They involve a lot of labor because they use simple tools and machines. So labor requirement is high. So if the government encourages more of the small scale industries by providing skills, by providing a loan at very low rate of interest, then people will be encouraged to open up more small scale industries, which will actually create more job opportunities. Then comes the tertiary sectors, which includes trade, transport, banking, insurance. Because of advancement in technology, many new services are coming up which are creating more job opportunities. So this was all about unemployment. Now let's summarize the chapter. I would like to summarize this chapter by taking example of a village. Let us consider a village in which there was a primary school, there was good crops were growing there, everybody was living happily, they were able to sustain their living. But what happened, one or two few families, they spent more on the education of their children. They spent on higher education. They sent their children to the nearby towns or the cities for higher education. And such children actually gained skills and knowledge, and they were able to find private jobs. Let us take an example. They became agro-engineers. So their income increased tremendously, which actually increased the financial status of their family as a whole, which helped in the better economy of the country. Since there was better economy, they were able to have more productivity, because of which more infrastructure was provided, which in turn created more job opportunities. So this village, now it knows the value of education and as well as healthcare of the people. So such villages now, with the help of local government, they open up more schools and dispensaries, and they are able to increase their productivity. So once the people know about the value of education and health, they will invest upon it and they will get the return. And it is the only way to come out of the vicious cycle of poverty. So that's all from this chapter. I hope it's clear to you.
Now, subscribe to Bright Tutee course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Tutee app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Tutee courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Tutee follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutee and avail your courses at affordable prices.